Everyone thinks the 270 Winchester is unstoppable, a flat-shooting, moderate recoil legend that can take down deer, elk, or antelope at almost any distance. But what if I told you there's a hidden truth hunters rarely talk about? A silent limitation that only becomes obvious when the stakes are highest, when a long-range shot isn't just about accuracy, but life-or-death performance. Beyond 300 yards, the 270 quietly loses the edge that made it famous. Its bullets shed speed, its energy fades, and what once seemed unstoppable starts to betray expectations. This isn't a flaw, it's physics, and if you don't understand it, a shot you thought was perfect could end in heartbreak. Today, we're stepping behind the legend of the 270 Winchester, revealing the limits no one warns you about and the physics every hunter needs to respect before pulling the trigger. The 270 Winchester emerged in the crucible of post-war ballistics innovation, a time when engineers and hunters alike were obsessed with marrying flat trajectories to manageable recoil. It was born from the venerable 30 ISO 6 Springfield case, neck down to accept a sleek 0.277-inch projectile, capable of flinging high BC bullets faster and flatter than almost any existing sporting round. Previously would have demanded heavier calibers. The 270 was not merely a cartridge, it was a testament to the spirit of American hunting, precise and willing to push the boundaries of what a shoulder-fired tool could achieve. Yet this narrative of unassailable performance obscures an important truth. The 270 Winchester's glory was built on a specific range, a narrow envelope of conditions where its ballistics truly shined. Within that zone, it is legendary. Beyond it lies a gradual erosion of capabilities that few shooters articulate with precision. The cartridge's character is rooted in velocity and sectional efficiency. The early adopters of the 270 reveled in its engineering elegance, a case capacity engineered to push 130 to 150 grain bullets with astonishing speed, barrels harmonized to balance pressure and accuracy, and recoil gentle enough to allow repeated practice without fatigue. But those very traits, exceptional velocity and moderate recoil, mask the onset of aerodynamic realities that become unavoidable. Inside the chamber, the 270 Winchester is a study in efficient internal ballistics. The case's moderate taper and generous powder capacity, combined with its relatively small bore diameter, permit a large surface area of propellant to burn consistently around the base of the bullet. The result is high and steady pressures that accelerate the projectile rapidly. With 130 grain match bullets, muzzle velocities commonly exceed 3,000 feet per second, numbers that excite shooters and flatter trajectories impress crowds. This engineering legacy stems from a period when range tables were king. Hunters measured greatness by inches of drop at 200 and 300 yards, and on paper, the 270 Winchester delivered. In the first few hundred yards, the bullet's flight path seemed almost miraculous. This early success cemented the cartridge's reputation among guides and outfitters. But this mythic flatness belies a critical aerodynamic reality. A projectile's behavior beyond the muzzle is dictated by its ballistic coefficient, BC, a number that encapsulates how well the shape of the bullet cuts through the air. While .270 caliber bullets have historically enjoyed respectable BCs for their diameter, they are still smaller, lighter, and less momentum-rich than larger diameter projectiles designed for long-range applications. At moderate distances, this advantage is hidden. The physics are simple. Drag increases with velocity, and as the bullet sheds speed, its ability to resist crosswinds and maintain energy diminishes. The 270's sleek bullets can only carry so much velocity and so much momentum. Past the zone where its design excels, the decline in retained energy and stability begins to accelerate. Downrange, the 270 Winchester tells a tale of two regimes. Inside 300 yards, it is a hunter's dream, and terminal performance that meets the ethical expectations of medium game hunting. The numbers seem untouchable. Energy figures that would drop elk on the spot, and trajectory curves that demand minimal holdover. But energy is not a static measure. The 270's light bullets are excellent energy transporters early, but they lack the sectional density and mass to sustain that advantage at extended range as effectively as heavier calibers. Compare the 130-grain 270 bullet at 500 yards to a heavier 30 caliber bullet. The 270 might arrive with sufficient speed but carries less momentum, less inherent stability against wind, and less raw energy upon impact. The energy curves begin to converge, and in some cases, the 270's retained energy at distance can dip below thresholds widely accepted for ethical big game performance. Hunters who push the cartridge beyond its optimal zone find that a shot which looks good through the scope. Wind is another factor. At 300 yards, a 10 Mevry crosswind will move a 270 bullet predictably within the understanding of an experienced marksman. At 500 or 600 yards, that same wind can deflect the 270's lighter projectiles several more inches than heavier, higher BC alternatives, and a deeper understanding of aerodynamics than many hunters possess in the field. This is not a critique of the cartridge's design. Rather, it emphasizes the reality, a range where its engineering aligns with the demands of field performance. The 270's envelope is generous but finite. Momentum, sectional density, and terminal performance. Terminal performance, the story written in muscle, bone, and hide, is where the 270 Winchester's limitations beyond 300 yards become most evident on paper. But real hunting isn't governed by numbers alone. It is governed by the physics of tissue disruption and the biological realities of living animals. Sectional density, the ratio of a bullet's mass to its cross-sectional area. The 270's 130 to 150 grain bullets have respectable SD values in their normal hunting range, but at longer distances, as velocity drops, they become less capable of overcoming resistance. Experienced guides and hunters know that an ethical kill is not merely about entering energy figures into a ballistics chart. It is about ensuring that the bullet, upon impact, consistently enters, expands appropriately, and disrupts vital systems. Outside of three, acting more like punching rods than controlled expansion projectiles. Alternatively, some designs may begin to overexpand, shedding energy prematurely and failing to reach deep organs. This behavior is not unique to the 270, but its specific combination of velocity and bullet mass makes this transition more abrupt than in inherently heavier bulleted cartridges. Hunters unfamiliar with this nuance may interpret a solid hit through the lungs as a sure kill, only to find a weak blood trail and a suffering animal, a tragedy born not of poor shot placement but of misjudged ballistic limits. The role of bullet design in modern innovations. Ballistic technology has not stood still. In the decades since the 270 Winchester's introduction, bullet design has advanced dramatically. Modern manufacturing techniques yield projectiles with higher ballistic coefficients, more consistent jackets, bonded cores, and polymer tips that improve aerodynamics and energy retention. These innovations have pushed the effective range of many cartridges, including the 270, further downrange than early designers might have envisioned. Yet even with cutting-edge bullets, the fundamental physics remains. A 270's ability to maintain velocity and energy at 500 yards is inevitably constrained by its original design metrics. High BC bullets help by reducing drag and maintaining stability, but they also often require faster barrel twist rates to stabilize properly. Many classic 270 rifles were built with twist rates optimized for mid-range hunting bullets, not for the longest, heaviest projectiles now available. As a result, some modern long-range .270 ammunition fails to realize its full potential in older rifles, leading to accuracy woes that are often mistakenly attributed to the cartridge itself. Still, the improvements in bullet technology have made the 270 more capable at extended ranges than ever before. Hunters who understand the interplay between bullet design, twist rate, and velocity can push the cartridge into territory once reserved for dedicated long-range calibers. But this requires expertise and equipment choices aligned with those ambitions, not casual confidence in the cartridge's historical reputation. The 270's engineering cocktail, velocity, accuracy, moderate recoil, remains potent, but its peak performance now depends on pairing it with bullets designed for the demands of modern long-range hunting, and shooters prepared to manage environmental variables with scientific precision. Recoil, control, and accuracy, the human element. The 270 Winchester's moderate recoil is one of its most enduring appeals. Shooters can spend entire days at the range without fatigue, and hunters often praise its balance of human comfort and ballistic power. Moderate recoil aids accuracy, especially for those still refining trigger control and follow-through. But this very gentleness also hides a subtle trap. Recoil is feedback, an instructor that teaches the shooter how the rifle responds. Heavy recoil forces attention on fundamentals. Proper stock fit, solid cheek weld, shoulder placement, controlled breathing. Shooters quickly learn the consequences of jerking the trigger or breaking form because the rifle reminds them with obvious force. With the 270's smoother impulse, these cues are quieter, subtler. A shooter might think they are performing well because they feel comfortable, even though slight form errors persist. At 100 or 200 yards, the margin for error is generous. At 400-500 yards, those same small mistakes become magnified. The bullet's flight path exaggerates the shooter's imperfections, and the result can be a miss or a poor hit. This interplay between human feedback and cartridge behavior is an underappreciated factor in real-world performance. The 270's recoil profile makes it accessible and pleasant, but it also demands discipline and self-awareness from the shooter, especially when venturing beyond the cartridge's optimal range. A heavy recoiling caliber might force strict fundamentals by necessity. The 270 requires them by choice. The psychological edge and the mirage of long range. Hunters and shooters are storytellers by nature. We gather around campfires and recount epic shots, pushing the boundaries of what our gear, our cartridges, can accomplish. The 270 Winchester's early success at 200 and 300 yards created a legend of long-range excellence. That legend, repeated in magazines, forums, and conversations, became a psychological edge, a belief that the cartridge could do more than its design envelope truly supports. This is the emotional side of ballistics: faith in one's equipment. Such confidence is vital in the field. Fear and doubt can lead to rushed shots and poor decisions, but confidence without understanding is a dangerous thing. Believing the 270 can ethically and consistently reach beyond 500 yards without accounting for wind, energy, bullet behavior, and shooter skill is akin to believing a scalpel is a hammer simply because both are tools. The 270 Winchester does not lie on the firing line. It delivers what physics allows and nothing more. When a shooter believes its reputation more than its capabilities, the result is tragedy born of myth. A well-placed 300-yard shot with the right conditions and ammunition is a sight to behold. A 600-yard shot undertaken with blind faith is a gamble with life and death. Legends are useful only when tempered by respect for reality, tradition, revival, and the modern hunter's challenge. Despite its limitations beyond 300 yards, the 270 Winchester has never faded from popularity. Its blend of accuracy, manageable recoil, and proven terminal performance within its effective range has ensured its place in hunting culture. Rifles chambered in 270 remain among the most popular on dealer shelves. Hunters still swear by it for whitetail, pronghorn, caribou, and even elk when used within its envelope. But the modern hunter faces new challenges and expectations. Long-range optics, rangefinders, and sophisticated ballistics calculators have redefined what ethical range means. Shooters now evaluate cartridges not merely by tradition, but by how well they integrate into an ecosystem of gear designed for precision at distance. In this environment, the 270 Winchester must be understood for what it truly is: a remarkable cartridge with a specific domain of excellence. Its heritage is not diminished by acknowledging its limitations. Rather, that acknowledgement amplifies its strengths. When the shooter respects its physics, matches the right bullet to the mission, and operates within a range where retained energy and stability remain high, the .270 is a tool of unmatched grace and capability. To harness its engineering, one must know its boundaries. The physics of lost momentum. Beyond 300 yards, the 270's velocity decay becomes more than a curve on a chart. It becomes a physical constraint that shapes every facet of performance. The bullet's energy, its ability to resist wind, and its terminal behavior all share a common cause: diminishing velocity. As the projectile travels, drag slows it at an increasing rate. At 400 yards, the 270 might still hold sufficient energy for medium game, but the margin narrows. At 500 yards, that margin can vanish entirely, particularly under real atmospheric conditions. This phenomenon is not unique to the 270. But because the cartridge was built for speed with lighter bullets, the rate of decline in retained effectiveness happens earlier than in calibers with heavier, higher momentum projectiles. A .30 caliber round with a heavier bullet, for example, may retain more energy and resist wind deflection more effectively at the same distances, even if it never matched the 270's initial velocity. Hunters must understand that speed does not equal dominance at distance. Momentum and mass matter. Sectional density and BC matter. Together, these traits determine how well a bullet carries its energy from departure to impact. The 270's engineering choices optimized its performance where most hunting shots traditionally occur. Beyond that, physics takes the lead. The ethical imperative. Amid all technical discourse lies a singular truth. Hunting is governed by ethics. Ballistic charts, anecdotes, and reputation serve one purpose only: to ensure a clean, humane harvest. Within 300 yards, the 270 Winchester has earned its reputation time and again. Beyond that, its performance becomes an ethical question, not just a ballistic one. Hunters who push this cartridge past its effective envelope without accounting for the totality of ballistic realities place themselves and game animals at risk. This is not a condemnation of the 270, it is a call to understand it, to respect its engineering, and to operate within the zone where its design delivers predictable, humane results. The physics of ballistics are impartial. They do not reward myth or reputation. They obey inertia, drag, energy transfer, and momentum. The 270 Winchester thrives where these forces align with its design. Beyond that, they challenge it.